Great
player,
game.
best player.
नहीं जॉर्ज बटलर.
Twenty overs completed by the Sunrisers Hyderabad. Would they be happy with the score that they've got after winning the toss and deciding to bat first? A pioneering decision in this year's tournament. We'll see what Akash Chopra and Sanjay Manjrekar have made of it on Whirlpool Presents ESPN Cricket Info T20 Timeout, powered by Dell. Took a while, that innings, if you were just looking at the Ridhiman Saha innings or the David Warner innings, and we thought there'd be a nice punch at the end, which didn't quite come. 142 for 4. Sanjay Manjrekar, who's happier going into their dugouts at halftime?
I think pretty obvious who's happier because there's nothing there to suggest that the pitch is difficult to score off. I think there was a question of ability versus what KKR dished out, and I loved the way KKR used their bowlers today. 6 bowlers, 7 bowlers used, right? 7 bowlers. So
Seven bowlers,
that's a
yes.
clue to one of the franchises who is insistent on just using 5 bowlers and still bowling guys who have conceded 12 runs in over. So this is perhaps not a lesson, but it's a clue as to how can one can go about. And Russell bowling right in the end was a master stroke. They finished Cummins in the 17th, so I loved the bowling changes. And Manish Pandey was the star with the bat. So these were really the highlights for me from that match.
Yeah.
And I'm done. I've said
You're
everything.
off, then? You're off.
Yeah,
See you
okay.
again. Okay.
See you, Sanjay.
In case you're not a fan of subtlety, Sanjay refers to the Chennai Super Kings. You would get that if you were watching our program for the last few days. A very valid point made. When you restrict yourself with 5 bowlers, things may backfire. Dinesh Karthik had the luxury of 7
See,
bowlers.
Kuldeep didn't bowl his 4, right?
Kuldeep
He
did
bowled
not,
3 good overs and was taken off.
Yes, that's absolutely right. Kuldeep bowled just the 2 overs, as it turns
2
out.
overs,
So
yeah, and taken off.
would
Yeah.
be Shivam Mao. So everyone just shared the burden. Akash, do you agree with Sanjay on the point that it wasn't, and they didn't look like there was anything tough to bat? Then why was that Sunrisers innings so hard as far as batting was concerned?
See, I would also want to make another point with regards to the 7 bowling resources. There are very few teams in the IPL and, in fact, any T20 league in the world where you've got 2 bowlers who are capable of bowling 4 overs each, batting in the top 6. In
Yes.
this team, you've got Sunil Narine and Andre Russell, who are like match winners in their own right. Sunil Narine definitely with the ball, and Russell can give you a few overs. So that's the kind of luxury most teams don't have, and therefore they could afford playing 7 options. Some teams can't. Now, moving on to what is happening with the Sunrise Hyderabad, of course, they were too cautious to begin with, and understandably why, because there's nothing lower down the order. What baffled me, and a lot of people are going to now start baying for Saha's blood and will crucify him, but the problem is the personnel sent out playing his first game. If he was so good, if he was actually the best option available to the Sunrise Hyderabad, then why did he not play the previous game ahead of Priyam Garg and Abhishek Sharma? If he wasn't the original choice, he was not as good as the others. Then what were these 2 guys sitting in the dugout while Saha was trying his level best to get the ball off the square? We have to cut everyone a little bit of a slack here. That 6 months of no playing, it is tough on everyone. If you've given somebody one opportunity, Priyam Garg was there for at least 8-10 balls in the previous game. Use that to your advantage. They didn't do that. They could have gone for him. They could have gone for Abhishek Sharma. They could have gone for Mohammad Nabi, for all we know. But
Can I just come in? What happened basically was when Saha came in, there were a few overs left, and they felt that they needed the experience of Saha. And there was a time when Priyam Garg was supposed to come in, and then the overs were running out. And I saw that moment as well, where you guys also would have seen it in the dugout, where he was told, just hang on. And Nabis and Rashid Khan was also getting ready to pad up. So unfortunately, their time didn't come. Now Saha, it would be really unfair to go after him. We were talking just before we got into the show that he has his limitations. Saha, within those batting limitations, he gives his best. And today, as I said, was a problem of batsmen who didn't quite have the ability to collar the kind of varied bowling attack that KKR, dished out, barring Manish Pandey.
See,
Okay,
I'll take that point. Just one little point to add. Actually, we are still waiting for this revolutionary step to happen, where you see somebody is struggling, just relieve them of their struggle. Get them out. Retiring out is not to be seen as something that's disgraceful.
I'm amazed that it's still not come, Akash, because I've been talking about it for the last 3-4 days.
Exactly.
And you could see Saha, when he took that second run, he knew There wasn't a run. He just wanted Nabi back on strike. So retired out. Still nobody does it. It's a bit like Mankading was frowned
Yeah,
upon, and
yeah.
retiring out is a great tactical move, because just imagine Rashid Khan could have come in and maybe Priyam Garg. You feel sorry again for guys like Abhishek who come at that number and are supposed to slog sixes straight away. But maybe after Nabi, Rashid Khan would have come. We've seen him bat recently in the CPL. So retired out as a tactic. When is that going to come?
I'm fascinated by this discussion, and let's go straight into it. Forget everything else. We'll come back to it then. In a bit. Because what is stopping franchises from taking that step, right? T20 is evolving so quickly. And you could see with Iman Saha, there was no lack of effort. He tried to hit as many balls, and it just wasn't working for him. It's not like he was poking it around and not trying to play the aggressive shot. And he just, even if he was trying to throw caution to the wind, he wasn't getting out. So what would that do to the confidence of a player? If you've got a player in and you have to retire him out, Akash, you can go first. Wouldn't that shatter the confidence of a player? How do you destigmatize it? How do you prepare a player that this is something that we can do if the team situation demands it?
Very simple. I think the answer was there in the first innings itself. We saw bowlers bowling pretty well, but not finishing the quota of overs. So it is a tactical move. You decide who
Very
is
good
best at
answer.
that point in time. And if somebody is going for runs, see, you bought Pat Cummins for 15 crore. And you did not finish his quota of overs because he was getting beaten all over the park, 3 overs, 49 runs. Now, is it actually like telling him that you're not good enough? The fact is, horses for courses, that day is not working well. You go to somebody else. So if we are actually treating bowlers democratically and not favoring one over the other and not going with reputations, then why is this luxury being dished out to the batsman? It's beyond me. I thought that, see, there is the problem. It is the second game of the season. If it was the eighth game and you needed a win, maybe Sunrisers would have done that and destigmatized, as you said. But the fact is, right now you think, oh my God, if I do this, this guy is going to feel so bad, which should not be the case anymore.
That's an
The
excellent,
I know you like
excellent
it.
answer from Akash. The comparison with the bowlers was brilliant. And you would retire a batsman out. Like, for example, if Russell takes 10, 15 balls to, get going, doesn't find his touch, you're not going to retire him out, because you know that once he gets one ball in the middle. But there are certain batsmen that are aware. That famous innings of Robin Uthappa,
Yes.
last season, that was perfect for somebody to, just retire him. And, once you reach that stage, you've taken so many setbacks and hurt. Akash knows we played cricket where in Eden Gardens I played a slow innings, walking back, orange peels thrown at me. And, it just happened to a lot of players. So I think these things is just a matter of culture and trend, and it's not happened yet. Somebody starts doing it, and you'll see that happening more and more, and players will be perfectly happy to accept it, because they are part of a team where constantly they're shown their place in the team. That's the reality, Akash, isn't it? I mean, in the scheme of the of things where you stand. So if you're retired out, I think players will accept it quite pragmatically and humbly.
May I go a step further, actually?
Please,
Yeah.
Akash.
I'll just go a step further. So when somebody's struggling, you know what you're going to do to him? You'll drop him in the next game. What
Right.
is better? What is better? That he actually gets another dig in the next innings because you thought that he was not going that great. Okay, let me take him off. We'll give him another opportunity. But now you will actually drop him because he was too slow. And the fact is, and Saha is a typical example who would give his right arm, right leg, right hand,
Yes.
everything, his soul and heart to the team.
Quickly,
And he would
can
be
I?
the first man to say
Yeah.
that, it's not
I'll
happening,
make
man.
a
I
quick
can't help
point,
it.
and then we'll get thoughts from Ronak also. Now, when you mentioned bowlers are taken off after 3 overs, it doesn't look as bad. But what if they are taken off in the middle of the over? That's a bit similar to a batsman retired out. So you have a bowler coming in like a Mavi in a critical game, 18th over going on, first couple of balls hit for sixes. He says, can't bowl for somebody else.
Yeah, I guess the
Just
laws
throwing the
don't,
spanner in the wheel.
I don't think the laws allow for that, but the laws do allow for a retired out unless you fake an
Yeah,
injury and or other play act
correct.
an injury. Two questions from
Yeah,
this now. The
yeah.
conventional cricketing, and these are two batsmen speaking of this, right? They're not two bowlers speaking of this. Conventional cricket wisdom tends to tell you a batsman who's set has a better chance to tee off as against those in the dugout. What is the guarantee that Priyam Garg or even Mohammad Nabi or Rashid Khan, if you have Russell or Pollard, I get it. But if you have these personnel, what's the guarantee that they're going to tee
Nabi
off?
is fine.
Yeah. So how do you debunk that theory that someone who's actually played 20, 25 balls is in a better position to make that up rather than a new batsman? Fair point?
I'll quickly answer, Akash. You might extend on that point. When you're captain and coach, and if you watch certain players over the years, you know Saha's limitations. You know how much Saha can achieve, and you know what are his boundaries. Like a Nabi,
Right.
you send him, and he'll give you boundaries straight away. Little more difficult to expect that from somebody like an Abhishek or a Priyam Garg. And people who have this record of being largely in third gear despite being set. And if they hang around too long, then you're falling short by 10, 15 runs, which proves to be too many in a T20 match. And that's why Sunil Narayan opens for KKR, because when he doesn't come off, he's back in the pavilion after a couple of overs.
Akash?
No, I agree actually. So, and there is a very thin line, when do you actually call someone back? There is no right or wrong thing. There's a huge area of gray, because you're still trying to actually convince yourself that, things are going to change for the better. And that's what has happened with a lot of players. But yes, that's a judgment call that captain and coach will have to take. And that's where actually they'll have to stick their neck out and in fact put their neck on the line. This is when we feel we need to change. For good, bad, or ugly, we are making that change. That change is not happening. So the onus still is actually on the batsman to turn it around, and not on the management, the captain and the coach to make that necessary change if required. So time is not too far. We'll see getting batsmen retired out. Don't worry.
That leads me off to my final question, and you've perfectly given me the segue to it. Who makes that call? Is it going to be the captain? What if it's the captain that's struggling in the middle? Does he have to, as we have seen in the IPL, time and every now and then? So who makes that call then, if this rule does become enforced?
See, I would actually say that this decision has to be taken very dispassionately. Somebody who's detached. Captain, he could actually be in the, like you rightly said, he could be in the middle struggling. Now there has to be somebody who's been assigned to take that decision. I'd go with the coach. There are mentors. IPL is full of like 25 people in the dugout with great brains. So there's no like lack of brains there. So somebody should be assigned that, okay, we'll in consultation with someone, so that you just distribute the guilt or whatever is attached to it, and you say, okay, we have taken a decision that we are going to make a change, even if it's a batsman who's the captain who's been called up.
All right. This has been so good, and it's gone on so long, and no one wants to retire this conversation because it's been that good. What it's done is it's perhaps pushed some other chats that we had about Sunil Narayan, the opener, or in Morgan.
Or is the score enough, and who's going to win and stuff.
But let's come back to that post match, right? It looks like 142 should be something KKR get, and if they don't get it, it should make for a thrilling conversation at full time. Maybe the Riddhiman Saha innings will be a key innings if Sunrisers win it. So let's find out. Sanjay, Akash, let's pick up this conversation at full time. Many thanks for your thoughts and your time on Whirlpool presents ESPN Cricket for T20 Timeout, powered by Dell. Do join us for the post match show as well.
Thank you.